video, we are going to see about types of prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotes are divided into two major taxonomic groups or domain, the archaea and the bacteria. First, we'll see about the domain archaea. The domain archaea includes several groups of organisms whose evolutionary ties to one another are revealed by similarities in the nucleotide sequences of their nucleic acids. The best known archaea are species that live in extremely inhospitable environments. They are often referred to as extremophiles. Included among the archaea are the methanogens, halophiles, acidophiles, and thermophiles. First, we'll see about the methanogens. Methanogens. Here, gens stands for generating. Thus, these are methane generating organisms or methane producing organisms. Methanogens are stringent anaerobes that share an ability to obtain energy for growth by oxidizing compounds such as hydrogen or formate and utilizing the electrons thus generated to reduce carbon dioxide with the formation of methane gas. Methanogens occur in various anaerobic habitats rich in organic matter. Such habitats include marshes, swamps, pond and lake mud, marine sediments, the intestinal tract of humans and animals, the rumen of cattle, and anaerobic sludge digesters in sewage treatment plants. The cell wall of methanogens differs from eubacterial peptidoglycan. The cell wall of methanogens consists pseudomurine or protein or heteropolysaccharide or protein with traces of glucosamine. Next, we are going to see about extreme halophiles. These hemorganotrophic aerobic organisms require approximately 17 to 23% sodium chloride for good growth. They stain gram-negative and range from rod or disc-shaped cells. They occur in salt lakes, industrial plants that produce salt by solar evaporation of seawater, and salted proteinaceous materials such as salted fish. The colonies are a red to orange color due to carotenoids, which seem to protect the cells against the damaging effect of sunlight. Acidophiles. Acidophiles are acid-loving prokaryotes. Thermophiles. Thermophiles are prokaryotes that live at very high temperatures. Included in this group are hyperthermophiles, which live in the hydrothermal vents of the ocean floor. The latest record holder among this group has been named strain 121 because it is able to grow and divide in superheated water at a temperature of 121 degrees Celsius, which just happens to be the temperature used to sterilize surgical equipments in an autoclave. Next, we are going to see about thermoacidophiles. Archaea that thrive in both hot and acidic environments, especially in those in near sulfur hot springs. The ideal temperature and pH levels for thermoacidophiles are at 70 degrees Celsius and higher, and pH levels of 1 or 2. However, when subjected to lower temperatures, below 55 degrees Celsius, they die. Despite this, it is essential to note that not all archaea are extremophiles. Many of them thrive in normal environmental conditions. In particular, some of them can be found alongside with bacteria and some marine plants in the ocean. Next, we are going to see about the second type of prokaryotic cells, that is about bacteria. We seen about the archaea. Apart from archaea, all other prokaryotes are classified in the domain bacteria. This domain includes the smallest known cells, the mycoplasma, which are the only known prokaryotes to lack a cell wall and to contain a genome with as few as 500 genes. We know that bacteria are omnipresent. Bacteria are present in every conceivable habitat on Earth. Bacteria have even been found living in rock layers situated several kilometers beneath the Earth's surface. We already seen about the smallest known cells, the mycoplasma. Next, we are going to see about the most complex prokaryotes, that is about cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria contain elaborate arrays of cytoplasmic membranes which serve as sites of photosynthesis. The membranes of cyanobacteria are very similar to the photosynthetic membranes present within the chloroplasts of plant cells. As in eukaryotic plants, photosynthesis in cyanobacteria is accomplished splitting water molecules which releases molecular oxygen. Many cyanobacteria are capable not only of photosynthesis but also of nitrogen fixation, the conversion of nitrogen gas into reduced forms of nitrogen that can be used by cells in the synthesis of nitrogen containing organic compounds, including amino acids and nucleotides. Those species capable of both photosynthesis and nitrogen fixation can survive on the barest of resources, that is, light, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and water. It is not surprising, therefore, that cyanobacteria are usually the first organism to colonize the bare rocks rendered lifeless by a scorching volcanic eruption. Next, we'll see about the prokaryotic diversity. To date, fewer than 5,000 species of prokaryotes have been identified by traditional techniques, which is less than 1/10 of 1% of the millions of prokaryotic species thought to exist on Earth. In recent years, with the use of molecular techniques that do not require the isolation of a particular organism, one learns directly about the diversity of species that live in that habitat. By using sequence-based molecular techniques, biologists have found that more habitats on Earth are teeming with previously unrecognized prokaryotic life. Thus, the majority of prokaryotes, that is, archaea and bacteria, which cannot be cultured within the laboratory setting, and their ubiquitous presence in global habitats has been realized through the use of culture independent techniques. Friends, I'm concluding this video here and see you soon in my next video. Thank you, friends.